This is Dr. R. Scott Thornton, the progressive Christian and author of Inclusive Christianity, A Progressive Look at Faith. Check it out at inclusivechristianity.org. In this segment, we're going to talk about poverty. Anyone who thinks that poverty is not a religious issue has not read the Bible. There are more verses attributed to Jesus around the issue of poverty and the proper use of money than any other topic. Jesus announces to his hometown in Nazareth that his mission is to help relieve the oppressed and lift up the needy. Jesus teaches about poverty and the proper use of money over and over again. Two of those situations involve parables to be found in Luke. The first is the parable of the rich fool in Luke 12, and secondly, the parable of the rich man and Lazarus in Luke 16. I would recommend that you read those. What I want you to take away from them is this, that Jesus denounces the rich men not because they have resources, not because they are wealthy, but because they have a failure to see those around them in their community that are in need and fail to use their wealth to help lift those people in their time of need. At the time when I wrote my book, Inclusive Christianity, 36 million Americans lived below the poverty line, and 45 million lacked health insurance. Obviously, we are doing an inadequate job of addressing the social ills that surround poverty and lead people into poverty. These include racism, inadequate housing, inadequate education, inadequate health care, drugs, violence, broken families, broken communities. We have to ask ourselves, why is this? Perhaps it's because low-income people are underrepresented. There's plenty of allies for the middle class and the wealthy, but not for the poor. Jesus spent the better part of 3 years trying to reverse that. He asks that we try to reverse that. So what are some of the things that we can do? Well, first we can prod our legislators to devote more of our national money into programs that help address these social ills. Right now, less than 1% of our budget is dedicated to that. We can also prod our legislators to increase the minimum wage. I personally know somebody who works 3 minimum wage jobs and still can't afford to relocate his family to a safe neighborhood. We can ask our legislators to try to reapportion the money that is in the Food Act to have more of it go to the food stamp program and less to subsidies for millionaire farmers. We can demand of our legislators that they come up with some plan that will at least provide minimum health coverage for everyone, recognizing that that should be a right and not a privilege. But beyond that, there are things that we can personally do, where we can personally engage ourselves. There are numerous, both faith-based and secular organizations that help provide food for those who are hungry, clothes for those who need it. There are organizations that help with job training, mentoring, literacy. There are organizations that work with youth, such as the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. We need to support these, not just financially, but we need to engage ourselves personally in these programs. By doing so, not only do we transform the lives of the people that we help, but perhaps just as importantly, we transform ourselves into the type of person, a person of love and compassion, that Jesus intended. It is not our job to judge whether a poor person made poor decisions which led them into their circumstances. Jesus didn't do that. He reached down with compassion and lifted people up wherever he saw a need. He expects us to do the same. Amen.